Hey, what's up, everybody? BDO 44 coming at you with another video. I guess this will be an apes rant. I want to kind of talk about just where I'm at, not where I'm at, but where I feel we are um, with this movement, the AMC GME slash short squeeze. We're squeezing the short sellers, rather short sellers squeeze, and it's just one of those situations where right now, with everything starting to round into form in terms of media attention on the focus of what our point is. It's in terms of the government now starting to make noise about what it is that we've been talking about for the last year, and it's all the stuff that we've been talking about, things that we thought would come, margin calls, uh, you know, the DTCC getting involved and the SEC getting involved and all these different things that were just, the plan. We're now starting to see those things fall into place. We're starting to hear about some of these infamous names of these hedge funds starting to get, looked into. You're hearing the word RICO being thrown out in terms of um, how they're going to go forth in punishing whoever's found guilty of these things. It's going to get even more so um, intense in terms of how much attention is put on this subject. I think they've tried. When I say they, I mean like mainstream media. They've tried to, um, I guess the word would be, control the narrative as it pertains to the apes. They paint the picture of us as a bunch of people who are just trying to come together to get rich in a very easy and mindless way. They're essentially saying, "Oh, they found a way to squeeze a stock, and they're going to take advantage, and they're trying to be greedy because they want to take all of the shares they can get, even if regardless if they're real shares, it's fake shares. They're just trying to hoard so they can align their pockets. And while that is most definitely a part of it, we all want to get what we're supposed to get. I think also another part of it is understanding that the greed didn't start with us. It started with the hedge funds doing what it is they've done, and they've done some damage to real good American companies, done damage to our to other aspects of our economy too, as well. From what I understand, they shorted nickel yesterday and got smashed. I don't know if that's true or not, but that was the rumor, that they were very, very deep in terms of nickel, the actual metal, and I hear it went up 200% on them yesterday. So that hurt real bad for those. But that's the type of stuff they're doing. They're shorting U.S. bonds. They're shorting all kinds of stuff that had no business being shorted, just to align themselves so they can fund whatever they're funding. And I've been talking about it for a year now. Ain't nothing new here. But as I said, it's finally starting to get some traction. So now it's like, okay, we're at the bottom of the chart. We've fallen all the way from grace. I ain't gonna say the bottom is in. I'm certain it can't go any lower, but we've reached a point where it doesn't appear like the apes will allow it to go any lower based on how much of it we've purchased and are just holding. So it looks like the bottom is somewhere around 1430 as of right now. 1430, and to me it seems like that's like the true base in terms of they can't short it no further than that, because all the shares are literally in place. They can't, there's nothing to do. Even synthetics can't make something that is there make it look like it's not there as it pertains to the overall base of shares that are owned, real shares in place, people like myself. So it looks like that's what the case is, but you never know. Maybe they have another trick up their sleeves. Maybe they want it to appear to look that way, as a part of the psychological damage that they're trying to do to us. But either way, it looks like we're at a place where we can feel comfortable about adding shares, and feeling that we're going to get a profit out of it no matter what in the short term. Long term, of course, we think the thing's going to the moon, but the short term aspect of it right now, today, feels like you've reached a bottom. Um, but that's not financial advice, and that's not a sign that this thing is close to being done. It just means that they've drug it all the way to the bottom. Now we've figured out that it ain't a whole lot they can do to us at this point, or at least it appears that way, as I said. So now we're just waiting for all of the different regulations that have been put in place for them to be transparent, for them to come out, and I say them as in the hedge funds and all of those short individuals who have short sold all these companies. It's time for them to adhere to very new rules that are reactionary to what it is that's going on here. Rules that have been put in place over the last couple of weeks that are we are waiting to kick in. And once that happens, a lot of the tactics that they are able to use to mask their tactics will now be you know their job to expose and reveal to the American government. Now, how far that goes, I'm not as naive as to think that's the end all be all. It is for people on our level. A person like myself, once the government puts their hand down, say, "Yo, you got to do something." That's it. It's either that or they put you away. When it comes to these type of people, it's a little different because a lot of times the government have their own interests wrapped up in what these guys got going on. Maybe the government owns something that they are heavily involved in on a positive side. Maybe some of the stuff that they're shorting is helping fund some of the stuff that the government is doing business with. It's a lot of stuff that's real tricky. When you start talking about the type of money that these hedge funds have, it's like, even if you're trying to punish them, you may find out that like 40% of what it is that you got going on is funded by them. So it puts you in a very difficult situation, and that's exactly what we're looking at. So I think as I have to believe that the government, the American government, is compromised by default, based on how far and how deep the reach is of all of the individuals that you're going up against. Even if you can like effectively knock off 7, 8, 9, 10 of them, it's gonna be that one that if you knock them down, they're gonna take you with them, and that's the danger of the situation. The so-called too big to fails. But you got to ask yourself, why are they too big to fail? Because they've cheated, not because they've, done good business and have made it so that they're the only thing the market needs. No, they just cheated the game. So now they're too big. They shouldn't be too big to fail because of it. And I think every coin that they've extracted, whether it's wrapped up in something important or not, needs to be accounted for. So that's what the apes' purpose is, to make that a modern, everyday conversation. Short selling, naked shares, those things are now conversations that are being had more and more. And when we started this process a year ago and some change, a lot of that stuff didn't even seem like it was possible. A lot of this stuff sounded like folklore, put a tooth under your bed, the tooth fairy's coming. Like, that's the kind of stuff it seemed like this was about when we first got started. That's not where we are now. Now you could clearly see, and that's why I'm like, the media, that's why I mentioned, I think the media and those in position to shed a bright light on this thing are hesitant to do so, because of how much damage it can do if everyone does get involved in this. Damage in terms of different things that are strongly invested in by the American government, strongly invested in by maybe even the world in some cases, beyond America. They just will be compromised once this squeeze takes place, and that's ultimately what I think people are guarding against up top in some of these positions of power. They want to do what they have to do to take down these guys and stop them from cheating the game, but like, you remove the wrong piece in this Jenga. You see what I'm saying? You remove the wrong piece and the whole thing tumbles. So it's really sensitive, and I understand that completely. With that being said, I'm just at a point in my life where I'm at peace. I've went through so many different stages of waiting for this thing, so many different stages. And the funny thing was, is when I thought I had reached my peak, I wasn't even at the halfway point if it were to squeeze today. You see what I'm saying? Who knows how long we are? We might not even be at the halfway point now. But what I'm saying was, when I was going through my toughest time holding these shares and waiting and anticipating for this to happen, when I was at my wit's end, that was a very, very long time ago. So it's like, for an ape like myself, who's literally been in this now for over a year, it's gotten to a point where it's like, this is life. This is life. Waking up in the morning knowing you have something that could change your life and everybody's around you, but it ain't worth nothing because it's being manipulated by people who are in the business of manipulating people in business. So, I feel like Even though we're seeing the regulations starting to come into place, even though we're starting to see real conversations being had about what is taking place and by whom, you're seeing the RICO charge word get thrown around. You're seeing all this. You see the stock go to where it looks like the bottom on the chart, so it's only no way but up from here, that kind of thing. You see all of this, but you still feel so very far away from being prosperous. Prosperity, prosperous is the word. Prosperous in this play. It almost feels like the same type of folklore and hearsay and fairy tale that you began with. That's what it feels like, because they've worked so many psychological tactics against us apes, making the stock do what it's supposed to do, throwing FUD out there, hiring YouTubers to gain our trust and plant seeds of doubt. Stuff like that we're just subjected to as people who hold these shares and are a part of this community, telling us things are important that aren't, waving white flags in situations, telling us we should give up because of this, or don't trust that CEO because he's doing that. Stuff that doesn't have anything to do with what it is that we're trying to do, what it is that's necessary for us to do in order to get what we're trying to accomplish. A lot of the stuff that our community is told to focus on does not affect that. All it can really affect is your frustration level, which will then in turn determine whether or not you'll sell early or just give up entirely. Which is why I speak the way that I do right now. It's just I understand that, I went through all the phases necessary at this point. It feels like this may never happen, and I'm comfortable with that because I'm holding my shares and I'm seeing the damage and the ramifications for their actions coming down. A light being shined in places that weren't no light being shined. And that's the point. Areas that weren't being looked at, where money was just being printed. Now everybody's looking. Everybody's like, okay, what are they doing over there? What are you doing over there? Like addressing them directly, and it's getting to a point where it's like, they got to answer those questions, and I don't know that they have answers for them. They got a lot of tactics that they can use to try to keep the stock down, but answering those questions, I don't know how you do that without incriminating yourself, and compromising all of what your profit is in this situation, which is trillions and trillions of dollars amongst hundreds and hundreds of hedge funds. So all this talk about, and I've mentioned this many times, this isn't new, but all the talk about how the market itself, once this squeeze takes place, will not be sturdy. They want us to fear that our brokers are going to go belly up, which is very, very possible in a lot of cases, honestly. They want us to fear not getting our orders, to go through as it pertains to the squeeze. Once the squeeze happens, once you get it past a certain number, now you're supposed to be afraid that it's just, you're not going to get paid out or something like that. All of that stuff is real. I'm not going to sit up here and say it's not, but just like I always tell you guys when I do an Apes Ramp, this is a very important point. Bill collectors, corporations, everybody who's ever been a billionaire have taught us how to collect money. You don't collect the lump sum at once. That's not how bill collectors do it. That's not how your rent folks do it. That's not how your mortgage people do it. That ain't how your insurance people do it. If you want to fork over a lump sum, you may. They're not going to turn it away. But it's probably in their best interest, and in some cases yours, for you to spread that out over time, improve your credit, and improve your ability to pay it off. Well, that's how we handle big bills as it pertains to the other way around. We don't have to take all of their money at once. We don't. They can pay that out over time. Whatever trillions of dollars above what it is that we can afford to pay or out. It's not enough money in the world, blah, blah, blah. Man, a loaf of bread was 20 cents in 1920. I do not want to hear anything about we don't have enough money. I just don't want to hear it. Inflation is real, and eventually gas will be $10 a pop regularly. Okay? That's what it looks like it's headed. So it's like all this stuff we think we know about prices and stuff like that. It's a new time. It's a new era. It's a new era. And, as far as where we're headed, it's probably going to continue to get even more and more complicated in that way. And so maybe it's only $1 zillion on Earth right now. It'll probably be $2 zillion in 20 years. So I don't want to hear nothing about how they can't pay us because it ain't enough money, blah, blah. That's lies, 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 lies. If you look at what the crypto is doing alone, and you expect you look where it's projected to go, it's gonna make money. And I ain't talking about just earn money. I'm talking about make money. It's going to create opportunities for more wealth to exist on this planet if it does what it's supposed to do. So I really have no patience for those who want to tell me I should be afraid about hedge funds paying me my money because I've waited this long for it. The potential for me to wait 20 times longer is there from here. So why in the hell am I going to get scared when it's time to get paid about time limits and stuff like that when the time has been what's ultimately been against us the entire time? It's not going to do it. That's a load of crap. If they don't want to pay my price, then I'll hold on to my shares. Simple as that. It's only a loss if you lock it in, no matter what the price. Now, will it ever get back up to squeeze level? I mean, we got to get there first in order to know if it can repeat. But what I'm telling you is, ain't no way in hell I'm gonna get all the way there and sell out of sheer fear just because I'm afraid somebody ain't gonna pay me the money that I'm supposed to be paid. If I don't get the money I'm supposed to be paid, then we talk to a lawyer and we'll figure it out from there. I mean, it ain't deeper than that. What I won't do is sell early out of fear. If you're fearful, you're in the wrong play to begin with. And if you're greedy, then why the hell are you signing up for something that may never happen? You understand what I'm saying? You're in the wrong play if that's your mindset. So I always tell people, don't cross my picket line, man. I'm a ape, AMC ape, love GME as well, and I just feel like everybody in this situation, who's joining right now, needs to understand that this is not something that you're doing because you are certain you're gonna make money. This is something you're gonna do. You're certain you're signing up for extreme, ridiculous volatility. That's what you're signing up for. You're signing up for crypto-like volatility in a stock situation, and maybe you make some real money, maybe you don't. But the object of the game is to once again shine a light on this nefarious behavior taking place by short sellers with trillions of dollars being siphoned out of poor people and regular hard-working people and poured into their businesses for whatever it is that they're going to be doing going forward, which we should all fear, in my opinion. And it's one of those situations where we gotta see this through. It's not about just making money. It's about assuring that whatever they're funding doesn't happen, and most importantly, that we can put our money in situations where we invest it and actually see an honest return based on what is going on with the business or the coin or whatever it is, not market makers and big dogs who are using psychological warfare to cheat the game, which is what the stock market and the crypto market ultimately is. Big dogs pouring their money in and taking their money out in a timely fashion to psychologically dupe the rest of us who don't have a whole lot of money into losing that little bit of money, so that they can rinse and repeat the process over and over again. And as you watch them continue to do this, maybe you get lucky and make some money. But you gotta be either really, really patient to let it play itself out over a long period of time, or you got to be really timely in being able to psychologically out psych basically the market makers who are in position to do nothing but deceive. All of this is just bad business. It's bad energy. It's bad karma. It's cheating. It's all the stuff that you want to teach your kid not to do. It's the stuff that they're doing to align their pockets. And I will not lose sight of that. That's why I've done what I've done here and trying to make it through this last year with these shares. If it turns me into a very, very happy and prosperous man, then that trickles down to people that I love very much, and that's what it's about. I'm already 37 years of age. You know what I mean? This is not a situation where I'm looking to start my life and ball out. I don't have dreams of being like the biggest baller. As I've told you guys, my one true thing that I really, really want is a Rolls Royce. That's it. The Rolls Royce with the stars in the back. If I could light a blunt in a Rolls Royce listening to a bunch of music. That's all I really want to do. That's my rich man's dream. After that, I just want to do other stuff. I wouldn't mind traveling a little bit. But, what I do in this house is probably what I would do if I were $100 million richer, honestly. I don't think I'd do that much different. I'd probably help others, fund others' projects, try to get involved, stuff like that. Maybe try to grow my brand out of a passion project. But other than that, I'm just trying to live my life out and end this thing. Do my life and get out. Like that's how I feel, man. I hate to be that guy, but I'm just not one of those people that's really been married to life like that, which is why I gamble so hard on a play like this. But that's just my personal thing. That ain't got nothing to do with you guys. I think the point I'm trying to make is this: it takes a certain type of person to be a part of this and see it all the way through. It takes a certain type of person to play this type of games with their money. You understand what I'm saying? That was the point of me telling you what type of person I am in that way. I'm a bit off, so I don't care if I lose $1,000 in a day. I don't care, because I know that I can make two, three, four times that if we have a jump. So I'm one of those people who can handle extreme volatility as it pertains to this particular play. I'm not afraid. If you are, this ain't for you. But what I will suggest is you do some serious thinking about making sure you own at least one share, so that when it does go where it's going, you'll have a major influx of money in your pocket, even if you're not a believer. What you don't want to be is somebody who watches something like that explode and not be exposed to it at all. Especially when the price is this low right now. I don't think it's smart for anybody not to own at least one share. Nobody. If you know what's going on,